Mr. Chair, thank you for inviting us again to discuss our report on ArriveCAN. I would like to acknowledge that this hearing is taking place on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. I'm accompanied by Sammy Hanush and Lucy Dupré, who were responsible for the audit. Dans le cadre de notre audit de l'application ArriveCAN,
our audit of the ArriveCAN application looked at how the Canada Border Services Agency, the Public Health Agency of Canada, and Public Services and Procurement Canada managed the procurement and development of the application, and whether they spent public funds in a way that delivered value for money.
You have heard the Auditor General emphasize how deeply concerned we are by what this audit didn't find. We didn't find records to accurately show how much was spent on what, who did the work, or how and why contracting decisions were made. And that paper trail should have existed. Overall, this audit shows a glaring disregard for basic management and contracting practices throughout ArriveCAN's development and implementation. Government organizations needed to be flexible and fast in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, but they still needed to document their decisions and demonstrate the prudent use of public funds. In this audit, we found disappointing failures and omissions everywhere we looked. Public servants must always be transparent and accountable to Canadians for their use of public funds. An emergency does not mean that all the rules go out the window and that departments and agencies are no longer required to document their decisions and keep complete and accurate records. Monsieur le Président, je termine ainsi.
Mr. Chairperson, we'd be pleased to answer any questions, and I conclude my opening remarks. Thank you very much.
Mr. Moore, I understand you have an opening statement. 5 minutes, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and honourable members of the committee. I'd like to thank the Auditor General and the Procurement Ombudsman for their reports, which have identified some important lessons for us all. The Canada Border Services Agency has already implemented a number of actions to address their recommendations. At the onset of the pandemic, the CBSA was focused on protecting our borders while maintaining the flow of essential travellers and trade. The agency needed to adapt its operations at a time of considerable uncertainty over the health risks. The need for ArriveCAN arose quickly when it became clear that the manual, paper-based processes for tracking the contact tracing and health information of travellers did not meet the needs of the Public Health Agency of Canada. FAC asked the CBSA to assist them by developing a digital form, and the first version of ArriveCAN was released 6 weeks later. Over the following 2.5 years, the CBSA responded to the changing health requirements, set out in over 80 orders in council, by releasing 177 different versions of the app. The agency has estimated that the border health measures related to the ArriveCAN app cost $55 million, including a number of non-IT costs, such as over $6 million for the Service Canada call centre. The Auditor General and the Procurement Ombudsman reports have identified a number of very serious weaknesses in the procurement and internal controls processes. We have accepted their recommendations, and our management response plans are already underway. I would like to highlight a few of those actions aimed at strengthening the agency's governance and assurance functions. We have strengthened the first line of defence by requiring all HQ staff with financial delegations to retake 4 procurement training courses to help them better understand their responsibilities. Given the weaknesses in procurement oversight, we have established a new Executive Procurement Review Committee to strengthen the second line of defence by reviewing all contracts and task authorisations over $40,000. We have also established a new Procurement Centre of Expertise, which is developing an ongoing programme of quality assurance reviews to ensure compliance with the directive, with a particular focus on the need for proper record keeping. Our management response plans are aligned with the plans of other government departments, as developing the ArriveCAN app was a shared responsibility. The agency leveraged PSBC's contracting authorities for over 30 of those contracts and shared Services Canada for 7 contracts. The CBSA was the contracting authority for the remaining 4 contracts. In the first year, the agency was responsible for managing the development, enhancement and operations of the ArriveCAN app. on behalf of FAC. However, no new funding was received in the 2020-2021 financial year, and the costs were coded to a general COVID-19 pandemic measures account, which would have included other pandemic-related expenditures like personal protective equipment and cleaning. The agency did establish a dedicated financial code in the second year, when funding was provided by FAC and the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. And in hindsight, this should have been created much earlier. I am very proud of my employees, colleagues and frontline border services officers who served Canada throughout the pandemic. We acknowledge the very serious deficiencies and welcome the lessons learnt. We are now focused on addressing the recommendations that have already been made. We would be pleased to answer your questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.